Oh, hi there. Dramatic turn today. Yeah, it could have been better. It'll be better next time. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Window Chats with Robyn, the Instagram Live podcast where I sit by my window and chat with very interesting people. Today's guest is Grisha Pasternak. Very excited to chat with him. He's coming live through the Raw Actor Studio. Oh, hey, Sophie. Let's invite him in. Here we go. Invite. I have faith in it. It's happening. This should be fun. I'm excited. Okay. Oh my God, it works. Except I see your knee. Okay. That was a lovely leg. How are you doing?
I know, it's a great leg. I'm great. How are you? Can you hear me?
I can. You made it in. Can you hear me?
Fantastic. Yes.
Are you going to hold your phone the whole time? This is commitment.
I am. I
Okay.
think that's the best process because I realized that my phone it's a little outdated. It's probably not going to hold the battery charge the entire time, so I got to connect it.
Oh, well, I appreciate the, oh, there we go. Okay, I like my angle now. I appreciate the effort. I have to I don't know, I tried to spin in a chair. I was getting fancy today for you. I'm like trying to do a new entrance in. Yeah, I was doing like a whole.
Are you going to do like a super villain swivel?
Like I've been expecting.
Excellent.
But how you doing?
Good. Yeah, just I literally jumped off from the computer while I was editing all morning and then editing all of last night. We got a bunch of stuff that we're going to be putting on socials today, so I'm like super excited. So I just like I've been messaging you in between, just like sitting in my computer and just like staring at the screen for hours.
It's good to know you didn't lose the sarcastic edge while editing, so I appreciate that.
Oh, good God, no. How dare you? How dare I? That doesn't happen.
So we get to learn. Do we get a sneak peek on what's going to come on the socials, or is this something I have to wait impatiently for?
You know what? We have hard drives and hard drives of like really cool stuff, like really great footage that we have from over the years of the different classes and the different kind of things we've done, and even from all the different spaces that we used to hold classes. So like we ended up going through and editing, like I ended up editing a bunch of videos to kind of put on and share. And we've had a few people reach out and ask if we had footage from class, or like, yes, yeah, there's a lot.
I knew it. There were hidden cameras everywhere. It's never.
There are, yeah. There are. I just can't tell you where.
That's fair. Then it wouldn't be hidden. I get it. Yeah. That's why
How are
you
you?
never
How's
see.
your
That's the
day
thing in man casting, right? Because now Raw Actors Studios at man casting, and I always thought, like in the little waiting room, right? They have the little hidden cameras. So you always have to be on your best behavior, because if you're not, they will
Steven
see
knows.
You.
Steven knows.
He gets it.
I love it.
Oh my God. Did you ever have that fear of being, a terrible person in the waiting room? I mean, that's a weird fear to have unless you're a terrible person.
See, I own my terribleness. Like
Oh.
I will man spread. I will make sure to take my space. Like I own it. If I'm taking up space in it right now, then I'm taking up space.
You're welcome.
Exactly. Yeah.
You just feel like it's a character choice. I'm going full method. I don't know what your problem is.
Exactly. Especially if I'm having to play, anybody remotely related to, me as a person, then I will embrace the crap out of it.
Well, is that how you got the man from Toronto? You're kind of like man spreading in your space, or you were the dealer, right?
Yeah, I was the dealer for that.
That's cool. That's
Actually,
like
so that was really Sophie that helped me with that audition, because it was she helped me block it really nicely, where the story arc of it was very clear, which, it was just like, it was a simple scene, simple repetition of a moment and understanding of it, and it just kind of, it flowed. And when I did it, and this was like, peak pandemic vibes, when we were in the first lockdown, so it was like, I think it was like my first or second Zoom audition. And I was like, this feels different. This feels odd. But yeah, I just kind of flowed with it, and we did one take, and then I got the call the next day. So that was pretty cool.
Wow.
I know,
No
pretty great.
callbacks, no nothing. That's how good you
No,
were. Like, it
no.
has to be Grisha.
When you're doing when you're doing a Zoom audition for an actor role and look like ultra Eastern European with your hair slicked back, and then you act like a dealer, you know what? Turns out that that's enough.
Shockingly, if you look
I know.
and
Can you
act the
believe it?
part, you book the role. What?
I know.
This
It's
is
crazy.
confusing. Didn't believe
Crazy.
that would happen. That's
Man.
exciting. I didn't even know. Like, it's so funny that it's Man from Toronto. I'm like, Toronto? That's us. And then I saw
Yeah.
the and so, ooh, something to look forward to. It's coming out 2022. When?
I actually think it's coming this week to Netflix.
What?
Yeah, I believe it's either this week or next week. I think it's like the 26th or the 27th. Uh,
Okay.
to be honest, I haven't looked since like the beginning of June, so I don't remember the exact date. Because I
So
have
you're
a
just
secret
not
fear,
prepared.
and
Yeah, no, I got it. You're
I,
not
I
prepared.
have a
Oh
secret
no,
fear
what
that
if
it's
you
gonna
get
cut
caught?
out.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I'm
Oh,
like, this is gonna
no.
be so cringe if I did.
No, I think you're integral. I think
I'm not worried.
whatever you were dealing is necessary to the plot. Maybe
I
you were
know, I
dealing
know.
lollipops. I don't know.
You know what? I think that comes from like back in the early days of my career. I did a couple bit parts, some like SOC actor stuff that just never made it. It was on the cutting floor, which was really funny because like it was shows that I did that I was like, oh, I really want to get back and have like, an actual character to work with and like stuff to play off of and yeah, it was really cool to go back and be like, okay, cool. I went to my agent immediately. I'm like, they cut me out, get me another audition.
Well, then you can do exactly. So if you're cut out, you can be in it again.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
That was my philosophy. There was this one show called Warehouse 13. I actually was reminded of this very recently. I was talking to somebody in class, and I was this was like I would have been 19 at the time, and I did background for like the first or second time in my life. I did background, and I was on Warehouse 13. I think it was like season 2. Then a few years later, I was an SOC in like the season finale, and they needed to get to the action much sooner. So like whatever bit I was there for, whatever joke I was there to set up, it just did not work. So they cut me out, and I was like, okay, great. Now that I've had the extra experience, I've had the SOC experience, I want to get and be a character on the show. And weirdly enough, it was like one of those kitschy sci-fi shows that I actually enjoyed. So I was like totally on board.
Okay.
It's funny because like I remember going back and watching it. I was like, oh, there's my shoulder, there's the back of my head in like 2 different episodes.
I love when that happens. You can see, I'm like, oh my God, that's my hair. It looks great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, there I am walking away.
Hi, Robyn. Okay. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, and it's see, I only tried to do background a couple times, and honestly, the one time that I actually made it on camera was when I was like doing physiotherapy behind the scenes, and they're like, "Throw her in. We need another body." So I legitimately gave someone a treatment the entire time. They couldn't see what I was doing, but like the physiotherapist in me was so committed that she got like an hour-long neck treatment, and my hands were very sore the next day. But you see the back of my head; it's lovely. You don't
Wow,
see
that
anything I'm
must
doing
have
with my hands.
imagine like you're the other actor and you're like, oh, sweet score. I get paid and I get a treatment.
I know.
Oh, hi,
Oh, it was
Madison.
so funny. It was so, and I love that you had that opportunity though to keep getting cut and then move up. So you
I
get the
mean, when,
experience,
when
and
life
then
gives you lemons, you got to make lemonade, right? So I
yeah.
was like, I just went to my agent. I'm like, okay, we've done everything else. Let's, get something better. Let's get an actor. Let's get a principal. Let's get a recurring, maybe.
So I was looking. As I'd like to creep on my guests. So your agent's in Vancouver, right?
Uh, so actually, hold on a second before I answer that. I don't think these are really doing anything because they disconnected the moment this started, and
Oh,
I
it
don't
looks
think.
so cool though. Okay. All right. I thought there was a weird echo, but the vibe was there. I felt it.
I
Okay.
know.
Okay.
I just felt so zoned in. But
Yeah,
no.
right. I'm
So
like, he's really listening. Okay.
so I used to be with Play Management, and they're Toronto, Vancouver, and Atlanta.
Right, right.
Great
You're trying to.
agency. My agent was amazing, but because I took so much time off, you know, my agent and I went our separate ways.
Mm.
And I haven't actually gotten an agent since. I haven't been acting for over a year now.
Right.
I've just been coaching, and then before that, during the pandemic, I was working like completely disconnected from the industry. I pivoted into something completely different, and you know, did really well in that, and then kind of just was aching to come back. You know, you experience other sides of life, you experience other things, and you pick up new things and new perspectives. And I realized that I wanted to come back and share that. And as soon as I did, and as soon as there was opportunities, it felt really exciting again. It felt like I was doing something meaningful again, because I kind of started to feel stagnant and you know, for lack of a better term, unmotivated and unfulfilled. So once I did come back, and once I started to connect with people and connect with actors again, and like I even well, one of the things I did, it was kind of a joke, where I came out of retirement to do a scene with Derek Gilroy and Mike Delaney, because their partner had a personal emergency that he had to attend to. He couldn't be there for the final class. So when they asked me, I was like, yeah, sure. And it was like they send me the script, and it's like 30 pages of dialogue to memorize. I was like, okay. All right.
You jumped right back in there. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm really coming out of retirement for you know, for the encore. But yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And then, you know, just little by little, I was just like, okay, yeah, I want to be back. I want to be doing this. I want to be in this energy. Not necessarily acting yet. I have personally, just my journey has been a weird relationship with it, based on, you know, my early years in the career. And you know, there's a lot of mental health things that happened in my early 20s that were a part of my need to sort of identify myself as an actor, and kind of, you know, my happiness lived and died by the successes that I had, and, you know, lack thereof,
Right.
which then translates into everyday life, which obviously became a difficult thing for a long time. So right now, my excitement is more about creating, and more about building and helping people, and like, you know, we're doing a lot of like new and exciting stuff. Sophie and I are constantly thinking about how to like just essentially do cool shit, and teach people how to do cool shit, and like be artists, and be excited about life, and be excited about their craft, and be excited about all of these things, and feel empowered, and feel, you know, feel like they're capable, and they have value, and like all of these things that are so important, that are so, I guess, rare, unfortunately, in this industry, that people feel that way. And so we're like, nah, screw that. We're starting with that. You know?
But that's what makes it special, right? Like, you can go to a class at Raw and just feel like no matter where you're at with your craft, you feel validated. And I think that's a really important quality, because there's a lot of places out there. I've tried a lot of places that you go and you leave and you feel a little shitty, and you're paying for it, and you're like, don't understand this. Again, there are other studios that are also great, but I'm just saying, like, there is a lot of that. I hate when you go to a class and you just leave and you feel gross. And that's just not fun for me.
Yeah. I have two philosophies on that. One is that everybody that we work with, and everybody we, you know, are trying to help, we can only help them on their path. path. We can't help them on somebody else's path,
Mm-hmm.
right? So where they are in their work is what we work with, right? And try to give them and open up opportunities for them to go deeper into it.
Right.
But it's based on where they are, right? Because I can't pick and put somebody on somebody else's path. Like I can't have you working with somebody else and have their expectations put on you, right? Especially if you're a first or second or third year actor versus like a 12-year actor or a 13-year actor, right? I can help guide you in that and improve, where you are and build your confidence, which is, I think, incredibly important. That's why I say, you have to have a good foundation. The foundation is the thing that you're going to lean on. Yeah. Like in the military, that you don't rise to the highest level of your training. You fall to the lowest level of your training, right? In a dangerous situation. That's the same with acting under pressure. It's the same with anything really. Under pressure, you fall to the lowest level. And so, we're trying to raise the bar, but as well as the floor. Right, because if you raise all of that, like you have a much better talent pool in the city. You have a much better talent pool everywhere because you have artists who are actually able to contribute something to the story, to the narrative, to the art form, to the experience, right? And that is hugely important, right? So when we're talking about who we're working with and how we're approaching it, it's on a case-by-case basis.
For sure.
Right? Which is why, like, anytime there's anybody comparing themselves in class, we immediately go, no, don't bother with that because we're working with you, right? It's about you. Learn from everybody else, right? Absorb as much as you can. Like, spend as much time in class as possible, right? Whoever find who works for you and stick to it. That's the goal. I think every single high-performance athlete has a coach that helps them be their best, right? If you find somebody who speaks your language and, do it. Absolutely. Right? If
I haven't
that's
found
the
anyone
case.
that speaks Hebrew yet, but I'm still going to coach with people. No.
Well, I did a film in Yiddish, so we
I
have
know.
a
I
connection.
love that you did that. Oh my gosh. I want to see the footage. I haven't seen it.
Oh my, yeah. Well, you know what? I actually have been wanting to kind of go back and look at it. I remember being hypercritical of myself because
I was going to ask that. Yeah. Okay.
of my own experiences with it, but yeah, it was a cool experience. Looking back, I'm super grateful. I do wish, obviously, I could do things differently, and I think had I had that opportunity, well, had I had the right mentorship, the right guidance at the time, had I had the right environment, I definitely could have done better. But I didn't have that. And then I went on this production, and it was a small budget production, really lovely team, like, lovely director and writer, and incredible crew. And like, I made like a lifelong, one of my really good buddies who we were roommates after that for 3 years. Like, he was a sound guy on it. The cast was great, and it was a really great experience that I, for a long time, held on to as like, I didn't do enough to support them because I was inexperienced.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? It was like, it was my early 20s doing it, and like, I didn't have the foundation that I have, which is why I'm so like, you have to have a strong foundation. You have to have and build from this place of confidence. And I didn't at the time, which then, like, looking back and watching the film, I remember sitting in the theater and I had like one scene where I was genuinely connected and in the moment and living. And that was the one scene where I forgot that it was me on screen. And the rest of it was me like in a corner cringing in my jacket, like going like, oh my God. Right. And so the moment I realized what the difference between those two things was, I was just like, epiphany. I know what to look for. Yeah. I know when I'm lying, and it's the same thing with any other actor. I know, and Sophie knows, because we instinctively know that, right? We've done this so long that we instinctively can see that not necessarily falsehood, but that in your head, moment, that in your head experience where you check out. And
Oh, so you've noticed that I've checked out for this whole chat. Okay, well, you caught me.
I've been looking at my own video this entire time.
No, but it is true. It is true. And I find that interesting that you can watch the parts where you've really committed to it. As opposed to, because there are things that I watch, you know, you sit back in the day and you go, oh God. But it's so hard to, if I can look back and say, you know what, that wasn't good and here's how I would do it differently. I used to hate that I could do that, but now it's like, okay, at least that shows that I'm growing, right?
Yeah.
At least I wouldn't do that again because I know why that wasn't good. And I think,
see, that's the difference between us, because I carry that trauma every single day for the rest of my life.
Oh, please. I always carry some little bit of trauma with me. But that part, that's so not necessary, right? Because if I'm not growing every day as an actor or with each performance or with each shoot, then like, where do I go from there? I'm just going to keep doing the same character over and over again. It's boring, and it's like, why keep training? Why keep bothering if I'm already perfection? But it's just not, obviously, Grisha, you're amazing, so you don't have to keep training. But
and I'm also very humble.
Obviously. But I think it's encouraging, though, to be able to, and I used to find it so hard to watch my past performances, and I can tell you all of them and where I messed up. Again, but it's healthy. But when you're able to kind of take a step back and be like, okay, why did I do that? Was I fully committed? What was the mindset, and how would I change it? It's like, okay, if I did it again, this is what I would do, and it's better. And that's what I have to tell myself, even though, I'm very hand talky today. But it's just, otherwise, what's the point of keep like continuing on, because there's always going to be those performances. I think every performance can be better or different to an extent. And I think what I love, and what I've always, and I said to you before, is I am so impressed with your ability to coach, Sophie's ability to coach, in the sense of there's no one right way to do the scene per se, but it's like, what is the truth to you and who you are and what you can bring to it. And that has been so interesting for me, because I'm like, okay, there's only one perfect way to do the scene. I have to nail it. And it's like, okay, no, let's just kind of calm down and just like, where can you make it different, and use the LEAD. It's a new thing at Raw. You guys should check it out. There's a class for it. Okay.
Well, you know what? I'll touch on the first thing you said. I always have to tell you to calm down, but that's just because.
That's just because I have to. Yeah. I like how your body kind of went out of it for that, but I did hear.
Oh, sorry. I was just trying to tell
you
that, me telling you to calm down is a common thing. No, the thing is, like, the music is there, but the instrument changes, right? We always have different. You are your artist, right? You are your instrument. You are that creator through which truth and life is told, right? So if we are approaching that through whatever these moments mean truthfully to you, then they're going to be different than somebody else, right? And so if we're able to highlight that specific human experience, that universal human experience that is the core truth of that moment with you, it's going to look completely different than somebody else, right? And it's never going to be the same, but it's going to be the same story, right? It's going to be the same meaning. It's going to have it's going to affect an audience a very similar way, right? Because these are core human experiences that unite us, right? We understand the core experience. We don't understand the contextual always, but because the core is truthful, we get the context, right? We get what it means to the person, to the character, right? I forgot the second thing that you said, so I don't remember what I was going to answer to then.
Well, I'm unimpressed. Chat over. Okay, no. I'm rambling. You got it. End scene. All right, so that's a wrap on Grisha. Okay. Have you worked behind the scenes a lot? It's my new favorite thing. I've decided. I'm obsessed with it.
I love directing, actually. I have a lot of fun directing. I don't enjoy editing per se, but I'm getting better. Just because it's the workflows are still. I'm still new at the organizational workflows of editing, and there's a lot of tedious, time-consuming work that is required that my ADD brain and consistent need for chaos has never satisfied. But I'm getting better at it. I'm definitely getting better at it, and it's becoming faster, so that's becoming more enjoyable. Like any process, really, it's the learning curve that's the most difficult. Once you get over that hump, it's a lot more interesting because it's more about like learning tricks and you know, new ways and methods, and it's easier because you have a foundation.
But
right?
is it editing your own work or someone else's?
No, mine.
It is your own. Like, are you
yeah,
in it?
So actually, well, that brings up a very good point. It's right now I'm editing the stuff that we're going to be releasing from old class footage. Now, what we used to do at Raw was the on-camera class. This is pre-COVID. Was you'd have like a scene filmed as a mock on-set experience. Right, so I'd bring in like help, and we'd do multiple camera setups and microphones and lights and the whole thing, and we'd film the scene, right? And we have a whole bunch of those that I've just cut together, and like we have even more that I haven't even touched yet that I want to go through that we're going to be posting. And like there's we did one class. This was back when we were at Wanted Picture and Sound, where we were doing a class. It was going to be a regular on-camera class, and then we kind of started chatting with people and decided that we were going to turn it into a short film lab. So we put people in teams. We got them to write their own material. We got them a director in the industry, somebody who's an up and comer. And we got them like, we rented a bunch of gear. We brought in people to film. Brought in cinematographers. We brought in people, and like people were helping out on sound, and they got to act in their own material, right? And so like I ended up filming 2 of those shorts because a director dropped out, but one is in the style of The Office, so like a mockumentary, a mockumentary comedy. And then the other one was like a spy CSI-ish type, I guess, short or film. Yeah.
That's really cool.
So we're releasing a bunch of stuff around that as well. The groups actually, they made a really nice one that they put in and won awards at short film festivals.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was one of the classes that we did.
So is that the idea of the raw reels then, to kind of recreate that, or?
So.
Yes, water break. Good.
Needed a sip. It's actually coffee. No, raw reels is a bit different. Raw reels is based around the fact that right now, currently, there's not a lot of services available for people to. Number one, within the range of affordably, get footage that is, well shot, well lit, well edited, sounds good, looks good, and makes them look good, right? According to what they, sell as an actor, right? Because this is a business and this is a market. You have to learn to market yourself. Right, so part of it is knowing what you're marketing, and then we go on the day and like we film a scene that goes with your branding, right? And then you get a product that is a demo reel worthy material that you can use to get an agent or get your foot in the door, right?
What's the material from? Do you choose the material? Does Raw choose it? Does the actor choose it? How does that work?
There's a consultation that happens beforehand where that is discussed based on obviously what actors want, because some actors bring their own, right? They want their own. The idea is that you keep it short, sweet, and effective. Yeah. Right. Nobody's going to sit through a 3 to 5 minute demo that you make for yourself. You want to make it, 1 to 2 scenes, and a minute in length. They see a proof of work, right? They're happy. You look good. You act good. You're a human. And and
debatable.
so
Okay.
yeah, proof of life also
Bring
exists,
a
and exactly, and and then they go, okay, cool, this is somebody that we can sell, we can work with, right? If you're looking for an agent, we can market this, we can give it to casting, and they'll be like, oh, okay, great, this person looks like this, and we can bring them in now, right?
Right.
And so it's about building those. These are the things that I talk about, things that you can control and things that you can't. These are the things that you can control. These are the things within your control. These are the tools that you can arm your agent with to best represent you and to best sell you, right? Their job is to market you. Their job is to create opportunities for you. Your job is to be ready for those opportunities, right? So, it's that whole, like, what is the definition of luck, right? It's preparation meets opportunity. Right. So your job, let's say 50% of your career is all about training, getting ready, challenging yourself, growing as an artist, experiencing life, different vocations, understanding yourself, learning about yourself, right? And learning how to understand story, learning how to, be effective, building your toolkit as an actor. And then the other 50% is the business side where, making sure that you're properly represented, that your stuff is up to date, that you have materials that represent you and highlight who you are, right? And that your agent understands that and is on the same page and representing you correctly, right? Because they're your partner in this. This is a partnership, right? And you don't work for them. They don't work. They get a percentage of the cut, but it's a partnership.
Yeah.
You help each other succeed. Otherwise, it's not the right energy.
It's true, and I think that's always hard to remember. That is a partnership too, and it's so important to be with someone that you're comfortable with regarding agents as well.
I spent many years on a roster of somebody who's a heavyweight in the industry before I was ready, feeling like I owed them.
Yeah,
right?
I think a lot of actors feel that way. Yeah,
and it's a really toxic mindset because it doesn't allow you to, number one, be open. Right, because you're immediately working from a negative place. You're immediately working from a deficit. You're already at a loss. So the goal becomes it becomes more so important to understand that if you are an actor and an artist and you're bringing value and you're bringing story to the table, that you have skills, right? That you have tools, that you have something to bring. Right? This isn't accidental. And the issue is that, a lot of people, especially the muggles, like to think that it's accidental, right? That either you have it or you don't. And that's kind of, as I've been doing this and coaching people for as long as I have now, and, I've been blessed to have this opportunity to help people, the overwhelming evidence is that everybody is capable of doing this. Right? They just need to know what to do and how to do it, right? And be supported on the path of self-discovery and discovering their truth and who they are, right? Sometimes it's not going to be easy. Sometimes it's super challenging. Sometimes it's super intimidating. Sometimes there's things that you don't want to face, right? I say acting is not therapy. Acting is not therapy. Therapy is therapy. Talk to somebody who's a professional who can help you, go through and understand what it is that you're feeling and why you're feeling it and what your trauma is. Acting can be cathartic, right? Acting is you essentially using your emotionality and your trauma in order to affect an audience and teach them that is a human experience that is okay to feel. And by doing that, you're allowing your audience to have an emotional release. Right? If you're giving that's part of your privilege and your duty as an actor is to use your life and your heart to give actors and give characters life, give them real pain, real hurt, real fear, real love, real joy. Right? All of these things, that your job is to respect that character and to give it a the honor of a real human being whose story deserves to be told.
Yeah.
Right now, there's so much stuff in the world where it's really. I was planning not to say the word, but fuck me, it's dark sometimes, right? And we need to be honest, and we need to stand up for what's right, and we need to do all these things to give, put more empathy and put more heart and beauty into the world, put more human experience and validate more life than we as much as we can, really, right? Because that's part of your job as an artist. That's part of your job as a storyteller, is to affect people, to make them feel something, right? And the only way you're going to do that is by first doing it for yourself and bringing your truth to it. And seeing.
Yeah. No, I was like, that was really, I didn't want to interrupt. I'm like, that was well said. You know what you're talking about. All I could think of was the scene that I have to do now. And it's, so I'm Jewish, and I got the scene of, Holocaust concentration camp. I'm like,
oh,
yes,
yeah.
I understand
Yeah.
sharing that story. And then it made me go deep, and I'm like, oh yes, these stories that, as a Jewish person, as a storyteller, these are stories that I should be sharing. Being like my grandmother being a Holocaust survivor, and a lot of Holocaust survivors in my family, like that. And it's just so funny. It's like, I'm uncomfortable telling that story, and I'm like, how dare I be uncomfortable? People live through that. So it's such an interesting shift in art. It's like, who else is going to tell that story, right? And it's this has gotten me thinking. Classic Sophie.
I mean, you've sat through my script analysis sessions, and you know what I talk about. But the biggest thing that you have to start with is, don't judge your characters.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, don't judge your characters. Don't reject somebody's story just because you don't agree with it. If it crosses your line and you have a moral boundary that you are not willing to cross, please don't. Right? Know what that boundary is and stay within it. Right? Do what is true to you as a human being, but don't judge them, whether they're a good person, bad person, whether they do something good or bad. Right. It's not your job to judge them. It is your job to honor their experience as a human, right? That is their experience, right? And it's your job, if you want to be this conduit to story, to honor that, right? And give it life, give it truth, give it heart, give it that emotion. Right? Because that emotion is part of their experience, their pain, their fears, their real, very solid fears that are haunting them. You as an actor have the privilege to bring that to life, right? But you also have the privilege to use your own fears to bring that to life, right? And in doing so, you actually find a moment of empowerment, right? Because having an understanding and clarity of your own fears and going through that, it allows you to identify that mental enemy, right? Because if we constantly, anytime there's conflict within ourselves, we tend to try to shut that shit down, like shut it down and run away. Right. And what it comes down to is, if we don't know what the enemy is, then we're always scared of it. It's impossible not to be. It's the boogeyman in the dark.
I think it's very healthy to live your life in constant fear. Is that not
Exactly, yeah. Just perpetuate your own trauma forever in an endless loop. But,
my demons, it's cool.
Yeah. But, jokes aside, like, really, if you know what it is that scares you, it's a lot easier to deal with it and eventually grow out of it. Right? The only thing in life that is, a constant is change. And so if we keep resisting that, then we don't allow ourselves to go through the process of change where we grow out of this experience, because we don't face it. And if we don't face it, and acting is one of those vocations and one of the very few that actually allows you to face your own fears, right? To actually come to terms and understand what they are, right? Again, it's not therapy, but it can teach you a lot about yourself. And by doing that, it can help you overcome these things.
You are sounding really good on this live right now. I'm like, just taking a moment. Like, you sound like you know what you're talking about. Okay, Grisha.
Again, you keep saying like I know what I'm talking about.
It's a lot of sarcasm before. I'm like,
that's not insulting. God, Robyn, did I come on here to get insulted?
I mean, I thought we would just be, making random
I
conversation.
know, I
You're
know.
just coming out like, yeah, here's the
Hey, you
craft,
asked the
here's the
question.
business.
I can't help this.
No, it's
This
great. It's
is
great.
me.
This we're having a very serious discussion. I appreciate it.
You
Dropping some
know,
gems. Yeah, yeah.
the thing is like, we all need to hear it from time to time.
This is like a wake up call for any actor watching this or anyone in the bin. Like, guys, this is good stuff. I'm snapping. I don't want to ruin the audio, but I
That's
like to snap. Okay.
that's the, kind of, and not trying to plug, but like that's kind of what Sophie and I really succeed at, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing that makes us most excited is when, we get to help people open themselves up a little bit,
Yeah.
right? Get them to discover themselves a little bit, right? Go inside and figure shit out and try new things and like really be vulnerable with themselves. And in that, there's significant growth. There's growth of the artist, there's growth of the professional, there's growth of the human, right? There's growth of the soul. And those are, like it's so not traditional in like a scene study class where you come in and like you get sides and you just run it again and again and again ad nauseum until you feel like you did something or not. Like it's so much deeper than that. It's so much more, I think, important than that to experience the other sides of your artist, because acting is just one profession. Artistry and human expression is present across a multitude of professions and applicable across a multitude of vocations, right? You can be doing anything, but you could do it the way an artist does it, right? The way of being truthful to yourself, understanding yourself, honoring yourself, and honoring the experience around you, being compassionate to people around you, seeing people's experience for what it is, understanding people and listening, right? The fundamental skill of listening that actors train, right? Where human beings don't tend to listen. We tend to wait until Robyn's done so I can start speaking again, right? And
I
but like
know.
that's true though, right? And
Thanks for
so
being honest. I didn't want to call you out on it. Okay.
it's cool. It's cool. I'll calm myself out. Uh, and so the thing is, it's like part of me wants to joke and call the class how to human, how to human, because like these are fundamental human things that are so important and sorely needed in the world,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's not just about whether you want to be an actor, it's whether you want to be a human, and like let's experience humanity, let's learn about humanity, let's feel some shit. We're constantly taught in society and in the outside world, don't feel, don't feel, don't feel, don't feel, even though that terribly we're like at any point like, oh shit, I'm feeling too much, oh shit, and you're like vibrating and like
Oh my God, you vibrated so much. Oh my God. Oh my God. I've never had someone vibrate their phone so much at the live stop. Grisha, that was great. Oh, that's amazing. You
so
felt too much. That's what happened. The live
that's
exploded.
it, you
Okay.
just explode. Yeah.
But it's
So
very true. Yeah. You're making a lot of sense.
I like to, I hope to, I try to.
Oh no, now I have you on a delay. Hopefully you catch up. But
Oh no,
maybe
no.
shake the phone again.
Ah, I'm on a roller coaster.
I don't know if it'll work, but this is great. Oh, what a
Oh,
journey. Oh,
it's
it
good
worked.
to
It totally worked. Okay.
Hey, I'm back.
Oh my gosh, you really just have to shake things. It's just like old school technology.
Yep,
You
yep.
just like shake it or blow on what was that, Nintendo or whatever,
The
Sega?
the
I don't remember.
Nintendo 64 cartridges. Oh yeah, classic.
Yeah, yes,
The
yes, that's what
classic
it was. That's what it was.
solution.
Yeah,
Just hit it on the top
and
of the
it worked.
TV. There you go. Oh man.
Oh, that's so funny. Maybe you might be
Yeah.
going in and out. We'll find out. But
I'm still here. I still hear you very clearly.
I
So
know I'm
you tell
seeing
me.
your face move, but then I'm hearing the audio afterwards. It's great. It's enjoyable.
Ah, oh no. Oh God. This is what
You
happens.
you put yourself on a delay, so that's fine.
Okay, let me try a thing real quick. One sec.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh,
Huh?
eh?
Huh?
A
No?
little bit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's
Okay,
better.
there we go.
Okay.
There we
Woo!
go. And I fixed it.
I know. Okay, so now I have to add to my list of instructions. Please don't shake your phone. So now we learned something today.
I accidentally pressed the home button as I did.
It's all good. It's all good. That was really, really fun. Thanks. Okay, fine on your side. Good to know. Oh my God, so funny. I got distracted by the shape. You were saying words of wisdom. I got distracted, and we're back.
I know. I'm one of those like jukeboxes. You just got to put another quarter in, and then the song will start to play. So you
Oh,
know.
you're talking about the human, like being human, and that's what the class should be
Yeah,
called. Yeah.
yeah. Well, how to human.
Yeah, how to human. It's just so funny when you hear that in class because it just sounds like such an obvious answer. You know, how do I play this role? Well, who is this person? Well, I don't know, but like, what are the beats? Like, and you go, well, no, like literally, especially for a one-liner, like, what is the one line? How would a human say this? And I wish that wasn't my struggle. But then you look back and you go, oh, yes, this is what a human would do versus, hello, I'm an actor. I have your patient, doctor.
It's the classic Will Ferrell line. What do I do with my hands? I don't know what to do with my hands.
I always say that. It's true. You just hold them behind.
It's so funny. I still to this day, like every time I think about me acting, I have that like first hesitation of like, how do I human? Like, and then after that, it's like, oh right, step by step, process in place. Okay, here we go.
So
like,
true.
You have to keep reminding yourself.
And it's so interesting too when I see like people's self-tapes and I go, why do I want to keep watching it? They're not doing anything special. I'm like, oh, they're being a human. Oh.
I had a really fun little aha moment with one actor last week actually, where he was doing a scene and he was feeling like really stiff and stuck, and I went to him. I'm like, all acting really is just a conversation between two people or more with varying degrees of intensity and emotion. And he went, oh shit. And we're at the bar later. He's like, that thing you said about it just being a conversation. I'm like, yeah, yeah, basically. We're just talking. We're talking. And then, you know, we want things and we need things and we feel things. And then there you go.
It's true.
And then things happen.
But I find the farther along I get with my acting, when I watch a bad conversation, it bothers me so much. And I don't want it to, but I think I go to, especially when it's a short conversation, I'm like, but I could have been in that conversation, you know, and that's like, I just want to join the conversation.
Yeah. I mean, after having, how long have we been doing this conversation with you for about 48 minutes now? I'm okay with you sitting the next one out. No, you know what? I totally feel that too sometimes. It's like you see a scene that's like so. For me, it's like scenes that like scare me. Like when I see a scene that I'm like, oh, that's so difficult. Like that scares me. That gets me excited because I'm like, I want to try that. You know, I don't.
What character? What would you want to try?
I think there isn't really.
Okay.
There isn't really many that like. I think Beirut would be one that I would want to like really dive into, or
classic Disney, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Super happy stuff. Yeah. That feel good. I don't know. I really love Danny in the Deep Blue Sea, but I feel like it's right up my wheelhouse of like I can go to anger very easily.
I see that. I know. I've experienced it on this line.
Yeah, no, you've heard me yell in class.
Okay. Have
I?
Yeah,
I had to have. I had to have.
I think your version of yelling isn't actually yelling. I like when people think they're angry. I'm like, oh, I know anger, sir. You are okay.
Yes, no, I know myself. Know thyself is step one,
Oh,
right?
interesting. Okay. You know what?
Um,
That's I love hearing how people perceive themselves versus how I perceive them. I love that divide. I really, or how others, I just find it so
well,
fascinating.
no, I'm completely conscious of how I am in the room as a coach. I
Hmm.
also know who I am as a person and what my real anger is like and
Oh,
where that
interesting.
comes from. I was a very angry teenager and I was very lost as a young man in my like late teens, early 20s as I was trying to find some sort of meaning or purpose and feeling very lonely and rejected and angry about it, right? So I know what that is for me. I know what the truth of that is for me,
Right.
right? So what you see is a comical version or
Mm,
a play on it, but
right.
it'll never be that because that's not something that's ever needed in the room unless I'm doing a scene that requires it,
Mm,
right? Unless the character or the story requires it. But I try to bring as much of what I want in my life as I can, which is I want much more laughter. I like it when people laugh, so I try to make people laugh as much as I can.
you're very
Um,
bad at it, so it is what
I
it
know,
is. Yeah.
I know, but I
Luckily,
was
you teach
hoping
the
you could
comedy
teach me.
class, so it's fine. Okay. I know
Yeah,
I'm gonna start a class. I'm gonna call it Being Funny for Humans.
there you go. Exactly. It could be How to Human Part Two, the funny version. Yeah, but yeah, like I try to use comedy because number one, comedy serves multiple purposes, right? Comedy serves the biggest purpose that comedy serves is building trust with your audience, right? When you build trust with an audience, you can put them at ease and create an environment where they are able to learn and they're able to absorb information and they're able to think about things in a much more clear and objective slash subjective but open-minded manner versus when they are feeling closed off or insecure or threatened or whatever, right? Whether when their identity or their sense of self is threatened, then they begin to kind of close off and they become unavailable to, number one, myself as a coach or as another actor or to the audience, right? Or to a director or whoever they're working with, right? And it becomes a struggle of getting somebody out of their ego. So I try to use comedy as a kind of disarming technique where I know who I am. I know what I am. I know what I represent. I know what I'm good at, and I make light of it. And that hopefully gives people an opportunity to think about it and see who I am and then go, okay, cool. Then it's okay to be me because that guy's a fool. So because he's a fool, then it's okay for me to just be silly too and enjoy myself, right? Because if I'm a fool and I'm enjoying myself, then it becomes okay for everybody.
So
Right.
are
And
you?
so
So you're intentionally trying to be a fool?
always.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like you
Has
have to
Sophie has a
try.
really great theory about the court jester and she
Oh
has
my
like a
God, I don't want to be called out on being the court jester anymore. I'm done. Sophie, it's done. Okay.
but it's a responsibility. I think it's important. It's important to be like comedy is so important. I think comedy is one of the most necessary things in life right now. We need to
Yeah.
learn to laugh and remember to laugh. Laughter is one of the most fundamental human modes of communication, right? When you're born, you only have two ways to communicate. You have crying, which
Oh.
means I don't like this, I'm afraid, and laughter, which means I like this. This makes me happy, right? And so it's part of fundamental human development, right? And so if you're, and it is kind of on that binary scale where it's just one or the other usually, where the laugh is the happy and then the sad is the crying,
Wouldn't it be
right?
weird if it was reversed? That's a very confusing
I
parenting thing.
know,
Yeah.
I know, it'd be a bizarre world.
I don't know what to do with that. Hmm.
Welcome to the mind of Robyn. Uh,
I mean, it would just be so entertaining. You're trying to make the child laugh, they're crying.
I think that would be a really great
It's
sketch.
very confusing.
That would be a really great sketch.
I know.
I think you should write that as a sketch and let's see what happens. I think that'd be great.
Sketches. Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, but you know, so the moment that you can build, and this is something I talk about in like when we do comedy, is like you have to build trust with your audience. Because if the audience trusts you and they feel safe, they will be inclined to laugh with you. And if they don't feel safe, then there will be no laughter, right? That energy, that positive energy, that expression of positive energy immediately is just sucked out of the room the moment that they don't feel safe, right? And so you want to make sure that your audience trusts you and that they understand that this is all, you know, for the sake of a joke. Right. Yeah. Nowadays, we have like stand-up comedians like Ricky Gervais, who goes up and his first entire like 5 minutes is him explaining the concept of what it is that he's doing. Right. The fact that he is actively and consciously making fun of these things and saying these things in a manner which is meant to make a light of serious situations, so that people understand. And this is a comedy technique and it's playing on irony and it's using this and this. Right. And so he opens and like literally gives the roadmap of what they need to understand the moment that he's about to open his mouth and say some horrible shit. Right. If immediately he does the setup for the entire or the premise for the entire special, saying that this is all a joke. Just know now I'm going to be a really shitty human for a few hours, for like an hour.
I mean, I almost wonder if people need to say that nowadays. You know, like this is a joke, right? Yeah. And I know for me, a lot of times, like I was always saying, my biggest fear is getting canceled because I just say things sometimes, and that's just, I'm trying to censor. It's a struggle, but I actually do censor a lot. It's exhausting. But I think there's so much power that can come from taking such dark subject matter and bringing comedy to it. Because it's like almost making it oddly more accessible for people to watch and understand. I always think of, I don't know if you saw Superstore, that comedy, but they brought to light a lot of issues. And again, it was still, a lot of it was funny, but just taking a different approach to some very serious issues that were brought up. And I thought that was well done. So that kind of stuff I always wonder.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. The moment that it's a difficult thing to talk about, and it's like, you know, it can be very controversial, but the purpose of comedy is to make light of life, right? In all its forms, it's to make light of it. It's to poke fun at it, right? And to analyze and to break it down into its component parts and go, isn't this fucking combination of things fucking ridiculous? Yeah. Right? Like it, and then the audience goes, oh yeah, shit, I never thought about it that way. Yeah, that's hilarious. Ha 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 ha. Right? And that's meant to make us go, okay, cool, life ain't that deep. It's not that deep, and it's not always freaking depressing as shit. Right? It can be. I mean, it can be, but the whole point of comedy is meant to be to balance that. Yeah. Right? Like I said, there's two things. There's two modes of communication, and life is about balance, finding that balance. Right? There's the tears, there's the crying, I'm scared of this, and, you know, I don't like this, and then there's the laughter, which is I'm happy, I like this, this makes me laugh. Right? And so you have to have a balance. You have to find the thing that makes you happy as well. You can't just go all the way into this, because you will not have any sort of balance in your soul, and you will just be dragged down emotionally by this. I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel. I'm just saying find balance.
That's true. Well, once you get older, you develop what, sadness and anger? Aren't those the other two emotions? Or not sadness. What's the other one? There's anger, happiness, sadness. Is there a fourth one? You know
there's fear, joy, love.
Fear, joy, yeah. And anger?
No, anger's essentially kind of it depends on who you talk to, but like I look at anger more as a byproduct of fear.
I can see that.
I see anger as a secondary emotion versus a primary.
It's like the colors, yeah, classic, you know.
Yeah.
Only
Well,
red, yellow,
we
blue.
talk about the emotion wheel, right? We talk about what the core emotion is, right? What that primary emotion is. Because they result in other things and they morph, but bringing that core emotion is what's going to get you to a point of truth, right? Where you're honest as a person so that you can affect change and affect an audience and allow an audience to connect with you. The human experience is fundamentally universal. There's the thing that is connecting all of us that allows us to empathize with each other and cry at movies and laugh at jokes, which is the core human experience, which we all identify with. And then there's the contextual experience, which is the story basis, the story layer on top of all of it, right? That's that story, that all that stuff on top will have no meaning if you don't have that core human experience. If you don't understand that core human experience, because the core human experience is the thing that allows you to connect to your audience and connect to each other and to yourself, right? So that the moment you get that core truth, you immediately drop into whatever text is there, right? Because text becomes obvious, right? Those moments become immediately obvious. I don't know if it's ever happened to you or anybody watching, but I can bet dollars to donuts it has. Right, and I've never used that phrase before in my life, and it felt foreign in my mouth.
It was interesting to hear. But you know what? You sold it. It made me want to
I know. I
donut,
tried,
honestly.
act as if.
Really?
But the point is, like, and like anybody who's an actor and who's listening to this and has had that experience where they understand the human experience behind the scene, and the moment that they just pick up the lines, everything just drops in, right? It just becomes an experience between two people versus like, oh, my line, your line, my line, your line, and this is what it's supposed to sound like. This is what I want the audience to feel, so I'm going to just show it, right? Instead of just going through the experience, which is the core human experience, and having that realization, that understanding, that moment-to-moment living, right? Where something happens to you and you respond to it, and then the other person, takes that and responds to that, and it goes on and on and on, and you feel a bunch of things, and it's great, and everybody goes, oh my god, that was awesome, and you're like, sick.
Acting. I don't know why
exactly. Yeah. It's like, how'd you do that? Acting.
Finger guns. Finger guns are great. Okay.
They are. Yeah. Best version of guns ever.
Yeah. I mean, is this still like, I feel like if you're miming a gun, it shouldn't be this anymore, but that's just a side thought.
It is. Most cases it is. Or
it's just like, when you're on the phone, it's not this anymore.
Yeah. This is what I do. This is my finger on the trigger.
Oh.
So it's like,
I hold this and I go ticking time bomb.
Honestly, I thought that was a teapot. I thought that was a teapot.
It could be. Tea for you, sir.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not going to pour it on my phone because then it will ruin my phone and my lines.
Fair. Nobody likes miming tea poured on their phone, honestly. Just the worst.
It's true. I mean, like, I've tried it 3 times, haven't enjoyed any of the times. So,
no.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 times, do not recommend.
No. 9 out of 10 maybe, but 10 out of 10, no. Can I backtrack and then I'll let you go?
Sure.
Can I?
I got time.
Okay. Because I know I said, it's so funny. I thought this was going to cut me off at an hour, and I was slowly like, oh my God, please don't stop. Grisha's saying.
Are we over an hour?
We are over an hour. You're doing great. Do you need to go to the bathroom? How are you feeling? Are we okay?
I'm fantastic.
It's okay. You've been holding the phone this whole time.
You know what? I've been getting shake, so it feels like I'm, in a chaotic environment, which really defines my.
Oh, that's so funny.
No, nothing's steady up here. It's just all vibrating.
That's so, like, can you calm your mind? I'm gonna, like, are you able to kind of ground?
Yes and no. Okay. Yes. The biggest things that calm my mind have been physical activity.
Oh yeah.
That has actually brought a full sense of physical, mental, and emotional calm. Is when I've exerted myself physically. So, I
was trying to do that this morning, but then this really annoying guest who didn't read any of my stuff really interrupted my flow. So, you know how it is.
Who's that? No, well, I still didn't read your stuff. You know, it's funny.
Hey, Robyn, I want to be on I want to be a guest, but I'm not going to read any of it, and I'm not going to know how to do a live. Cool.
It's hilarious because before you asked me whether I knew how to join an Instagram live, I actually had looked it up. But then I was like, then you sent it, and I'm like, oh, you have this really adorable little video. That
was a 90s video.
Oh.
Yeah, made a screen. I didn't want any more excuses. People weren't reading. The bullet points were apparently too much to read. Here is a visual video. Future guests, please enjoy.
See, here's where you messed up. You were expecting people to read.
I give people options. Some people like the reading. Not a lot of people.
I mean, if I don't have to, I won't.
I learned that. I did learn that. Yes.
If I have to, I won't.
To read every email from Raw. It's just different expectations.
That is very true. No. Yes, absolutely. Then that's kind of a fun thing that you bring up, because very often it's very evident who doesn't read, right? When people don't read, it's very evident because, you know, fundamental miscommunication happens where you know, you say the thing and then a couple days later you get the email asking about the thing that you've already answered. And it's like,
I mean, there are times when I think I've read it and then I send an email and I'm like, I think that was a stupid email because I think it said it in there. I'm like, well, I misread that. So
I don't reply to your emails for that specific reason.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. No, it says it in the email.
No, you were asking me a question and I had horribly interrupted you, so please.
Oh, was I? Oh, that's
yeah. You said we had been talking for an hour and I was doing great.
I was like, yes, I know. I wanted to. I actually just wanted to learn like what made you become an actor, because if you're like willing to discuss that, and if you're not, that's totally cool. I was just curious because I saw you were on Degrassi. I'm like, you've been acting.
Yeah, I sold mushrooms to the leads of Degrassi.
You just keep dealing. Okay.
Yeah, I was dealing drugs. My character's name was Ron. I mean, like, you know you're down bad when. But no, it was super fun. It was very much in the fledgling stages of my career, and I got the opportunity. I got on there, and I was so nervous and so lacking confidence at the time that I didn't sleep a wink the night before at all. Like, not even a wink. I just couldn't. I was so anxious, which obviously, again, explains why I keep trying to help people not feel the way I felt.
Were you anxious for this live? You haven't slept a wink? You look great.
I forgot it was happening until you messaged me. So
great. It was in the Google Calendar. I sent you an invite.
I was about to say, you know what? Thank you for the calendar invite, though, because it went, oh yeah, this is the thing that's happening. I was like, oh, true. No, so the way I was started.
Oh my God. Actually, future guests are watching this. Be better than Grisha. Okay.
In grade 8, I was looking, when I was going into high school, I was looking for a blow-off class, and I saw drama, and I went, I could act. And I ended up taking that, and it was kind of fun, and it was kind of a blow-off class where I got a B+ to A- kind of grade for just shooting the shit and chilling. And then at one point, I had a moment. I remember I was talking to my mom in the kitchen. And I was like, yeah, I could cry on command. She's like, really? And I was like, yeah. And so, like, I did it. And she's like, oh, my God, you should be an actor. I'm like, huh. And then I think that the
oh, no, but you told your mom that you could cry on command. Now, if you cry in the future, she wouldn't believe it. Oh, Grisha,
my mom's like the sweetest person ever. So she's very much. She was very empathetic at the time to all of my plight. So I could still fool her when it mattered. I'm sorry, I was late. I'm so late. My phone died. That kind of thing. And then I think the third thing was I started warming up to the idea. And I took all like university level classes in grade 11 so that I would, have the opportunity to, should I decide to pursue the academic side of life and go to university for something that's not creative, as I was trying to find purpose as a human. I got like on the honor roll in grade 11. Yeah, I'm not actually like dumb.
Wow, you're smart.
Yeah.
Just like,
I mean, smart in certain things, not everything. But
okay, not everyone's good at everything.
I also felt like my dad was going to reject the notion of me being an actor, but then he actually ended up coming around to it a lot. And like, how do we, and like he heard some ad on like the radio for like some private acting school, which was where I ended up going to and learning a little bit about the industry. But in grade 12 was when I decided to pivot and take part and actually be a part of it. And so I went to my drama teacher and I went, whatever production you're doing, I don't care if it's cast already. How can I help? How can I be a part of it? And she's like, oh, I need, they were doing High School Musical and they
how
needed.
How old are you? High School Musical?
Yeah, I'm 30. Yeah,
oh my God.
I'm 30. And they needed jocks.
High School Musical.
I know, on stage.
What,
like they had, it was licensed. We did the dances, the singing, but I spent so much time doing like the rehearsals and the dancing, and like I don't sing and dance. Like I do for my own entertainment and Sophie's annoyance, but it's not something I ever showcase in my career, right? Because that's kind of.
I want you to get a dancing, singing dealer. That is the next, like, hey, I wanna buy some.
Singing show tunes with jazz hands. I love it. You know what? I would do it. I would do it just for you. Just for you, Robyn.
I would very much love it. Oh.
But yeah, so when I did it, it was like, oh great, I get to skip a ridiculous amount of class in these rehearsals and like just spend time chilling, shooting the shit, and just like dancing, singing, and like you get to kind of like it and enjoy yourself, and you're like, oh fuck, this is fun. And then performances came around. And we were performing in front of kindergartners and like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 kids. And
tough crowd.
These kids got up by the final number and started dancing and singing with us. And I've never in my life felt energy like that. It was incredible. It was like, it was like somebody, Get Him to the Greek, where he stabs him with the adrenaline needle.
Yes.
It's like I got stabbed with an adrenaline needle of happiness. It was like, oh my God. I ran out just like buzzing. It was like buzzing for a week after that. It really was an incredible experience. And it taught me what the audience and the connection to the audience is, right? When you actually feel and they get affected and they want to and they care about you. And even though I was like, off to the side in the back row, like, that guy sucks at dancing, so freaking hide him.
Well, you can just bounce the basketball. You're cool. Yeah.
He's off rhythm right now, guys. Just fucking get him in the back, hide him behind 2 tall people. Nobody needs to know this is happening.
Shake it all. I'm a snapper.
This slap is a minute too late. Like.
All right, everyone on 3, and you're going on 7. Okay.
Exactly. But but the realization was that it's just such a palpable and like important connection. It's so rewarding, and it was so rewarding. So I went and I tried to seek out more of that. I didn't have a community. I didn't have an environment. I didn't have mentorship. I didn't have people who supported me and who knew what this industry was for a very long time. I was kind of just plugging away at it on my own without any sort of help or assistance or guidance, really. So when it ultimately, it took forever to finally kind of find myself, which by that point I signed at 18 years old with one of the top agents in the city, and I had hundreds of auditions, which I was not ready for. right? I remember saying in the meeting the agent, and he's like, "Are you sure that you're ready for this? Are you sure you're ready? Maybe you should go back and train, because like I'll sign, and we'll work on 6 months at first." And he saw something, and he told me, and he was just very supportive, but I wasn't ready. I didn't have a skill set. I didn't have tools. I didn't know myself. I didn't know what I was capable of. I was scared of, my strength as well as my vulnerability. I just shut the negative thoughts out until they became overwhelming. And then I'd go into a depression for a few months. Right. And that was kind of the cycle of being Grisha. You go into an audition, you throw pasta at a wall, hoping it sticks. But it was happening multiple times a week, right? And eventually that amount of rejection and failure, and you're asking for feedback, and the only feedback coming back is going, "Yeah, they said you're good." That was fucking toxic.
Yeah.
It was brutal as feedback. And this is nobody's fault. Everybody's busy. Everybody's working. It's not their job to like worry about every single actor's ego and like develop the actor. It's their job to cast the actor, to find the professional who's going to do the job that they're being paid to cast, right? It's not their job to teach you. It's my job now to teach you, to give you those tools, right? So that's why I'm like, I try to approach it, and my philosophy is I try to give people what I needed for a very long time, was somebody to tell me how shit is.
Yeah.
Right? Not to fluff it, not to bullshit me, not to make me feel like, oh, I'm the greatest thing that's ever happened since, factors. Like, I don't know, couldn't think of anything better. But it's just to tell me, like, yeah, here's what you're doing well, here's where you're fucking up, here's the difference, here's how you approach this, here's how you fix this, and here's what this means, right? Here's how you analyze story, here's how you look at this, here's how you look at that, here's a systematic approach so that you don't panic and become a deer in headlights. So at least you have something to fall on and something to use when you're talking to these industry professionals, when they're asking you to change something, so that you don't freeze and feel like, oh shit, they hate me and I fucked up. Right? Because that's horrible, right? It's like quicksand. And immediately when you're in that kind of environment, you're feeling that sort of way, you immediately start to kind of fall apart. And that doesn't allow you to be a professional. That doesn't allow you to be fulfilled and feel proud of yourself and excited by the opportunities that are being given to you, because you don't feel like you can achieve it. Right? So like, how are you expected to be the best? I'm a quote Social Network, be the best you can be, whether that's tried or not. It's what's required of you when you're coming into these rooms, right? To tell that story to the best of your ability. And if you don't have key abilities and key things that are so important for you to understand and be able to master, right? To be able to use at your disposal. These are actual skills. These are processes in place that you have to take. They are part of the human experience. This isn't like some sort of, oh, we have, you have to do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. The only reason there's steps is to give you an order, right? It's so to give you some sort of clarity if you want to look at it that way. There's no one way to do things. Whatever works for you. Do that. Right? But if something doesn't work for you, get clarity on why and fix it. Troubleshoot it. Figure out what's better. Figure out how to be more efficient. Figure out how to be more effective, how to affect an audience, right? How to be affected emotionally, right? Figure these things out. Figure yourself out, right? And so we try to give people tools, steps, right? Because everything, you got to keep moving forward. And to do that, you have to take a step at a time, right? And so...
What if I jump? It's like 2 steps. Okay.
Yeah, but I like to bring up the analogy, and you can't eat a whole steak in one bite.
Oh, sir.
Or for the vegans, like a cauliflower steak. You can't eat a cauliflower steak in one bite. You got to cut it up into pieces, right? And one at a time, you move through the process, and then you achieve your goal, which is to eat and feel satiated and happy, and
I was really trying to figure out how I could eat the steak in one bite. Ooh, challenge accepted. That is so bad. Do not do that. Chew your
Please
food.
do it on a live, and please do it with medical assistance present in case of choking. And please, this is I am
I
not
think
liable for anything that happens. I'm just wanting to watch.
I'm just an interested viewer. Simon gave you some. This is for you, Grisha. That her favorite is when you call her out on her BS. The
Thank you,
realist in the
Simone.
biz, and just what actors really need. Oh, she's next week's guest actually, so that's we'll just be talking about you. There's a pattern. I bring on other
No,
guests to talk about previous guests.
Simone's sweetheart. She's awesome, and she has a mean elbow. So
Oh
anybody,
my god, I know.
anybody watching, don't get into a scrap in a dark alley with Simone,
Like,
unless you're on
how do
her
you
side.
call her out on her BS? I'd be terrified. Okay.
Yeah, well, I also train Muay Thai, and I've taken an elbow to the head once, and it's not pleasant, but it happens.
It's weird that it's just implied that it happens. That's
It
there's
does.
so
It's
many.
part of
No, I understand that it happens.
the martial art.
Yeah, I mean it is. Yeah, it is. That's you want a concussion? What's going on? You okay? It's
I am fantastic.
okay.
I don't remember what we're talking about. I don't know who you are. I don't know where I am, but I feel great.
What are all these dots in front of my eyes? Why do I have a pain in my head?
Ooh, what was that? Ooh, a squirrel.
Floaters.
Ooh, where am I? Who the hell are you people, and where's my horse?
I know the horse. That was great. Oh my god. Okay, Grisha, this has been very long, and I did say like half an hour, and then it turned into an hour, and then it turned into more.
Hey, we're having fun.
You know what? Let's back. Is there any so we were talking about the raw reels at one point. Is there anything we should discuss, promote? I know promoting is so awkward, but I think you're good at it. So promote yourself, sir. Promote Raw. Oh, actually, quick question. This is just driving me nuts. So it's Raw Actor Studio, but is it Rooney Actor Workshop Actor Studio? I need clarification. It's driving me crazy. Okay.
I love how you brought that up. Yes, it is Rooney Actors Workshop, Actors Studio, Actors Space, Actors Living, Actors with actors on a hat. You know what? The branding became raw, and the energy. It's kind of representative of who and what we are and what we try to be as people and as artists, and it's all about being raw, and the acronym works. But Raw Actor Studio just felt like something that worked on multiple levels, essentially. And it was just like we felt we wanted to kind of give ourselves a little bit of a breath of fresh air, something new, something exciting. And we're trying a lot of new things right now. We're trying to help people embrace their own artistry and help people challenge themselves and really kind of push the envelope of what they believe is possible for them. Because I think that you're kind of only limited by your own set of limitations. It's not anybody else. It really only comes down to you. And so if I can show you that there is so much more that you're capable of than what you actually believe you're capable of, then you will start to accept and learn and grow from a place of strength and a place of positivity and a place of openness instead of a place of negativity and lack.
I like that. Did you ever, I can't not make a joke. Did anyone ever come to Raw and expect everyone to just be like raw vegans or something? Because when I see the word, when I see raw, I'm like, okay, cool. No.
I mean, the irony of Sophie being vegan for so long is, it does kind of work, but no.
Like, what is raw?
I think that only happens in Robyn's head.
I thought it was funny. It's just, that is what's going on up here. Did you see how her from your auto-corrected name is Geisha and not Grisha?
Yes. Yeah.
That's also quite fun for me.
I know.
Uh,
Trust me, the story of my life. If only you knew my legal name, this would be even more fun.
I
Because you
struggle
would
with
try
the
to
Robyn
pronounce
with
it.
an I versus Y, so I can't imagine your struggle, sir. That's
Yeah.
so you know.
It's all good. Yeah, I spend my entire life being having my name mispronounced. So
Grisha? What else could you say?
no, my legal name, my legal name. So
Oh,
anytime we
legal
were
name.
doing attendance in school, like for what was it, 8 years or 7 years here plus university, plus like at work, anybody looks at your legal name in like any sort of documentation when I was working
Yeah.
as a bartender or when I was working in other companies, they're looking at that like, how do you pronounce that? Or like Uber Eats guy just like brings it for, who is this for? Here, I'll type it for you, okay?
I want to know. Yeah. But I'm not going to try and pronounce it because that's just not fair to me. No, I thought it was a typo. All right, so those who won't get this afterwards, it's HRYHORIY.
IY. Yeah. You want to know the craziest thing? It's
It
Gregory.
actually, I was just gonna say, is it Greg? Oh my god, is it actually? Oh my god. Wow.
In Ukrainian, it's pronounced Hrehori, but because the G is a soft G, it translates
Yeah,
to an
yeah.
H.
I
So the
see that.
moment you switch the H's to G's, you're like, oh, okay, it's Grigori. Cool. Right? And it's so simple.
Oh.
Yeah.
So why
Trust me.
not? Why do you go by Grisha then? Why not Greg or Gregory?
So, long story, but hilarious story.
You're blocking your audio.
I think it's better now. I moved my hand.
Okay.
Um, I so when I was born, so okay, my grandfather's name is Gregory.
Okay.
So it's the same name. And so a nickname for that, or like the short version, like Robert to Bob, is Grisha. And so my dad grew up with his buddies always calling him Grisha, even though my dad's name is Peter. It was like a nickname that they gave him because he was the son of Gregory in high school. And so when he had me, they decided to actually name me Grisha. But when at the hospital, when they were making my birth certificate, they assumed that they wanted the full version. But it was actually always supposed to be Grisha. So I was always supposed to be Grisha. And when I came to Canada, there was a big debate in my family of whether I should be called Gregory and Greg. And when you say Greg with a Ukrainian accent, it sounds like Hreg, which essentially roughly translates to Greek. And my dad's like, you're not Greek. You can't call yourself Greek. You're Grisha. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll be Grisha. Give me a lifetime of, having a mispronounced name and a pain in my ass. Thanks, man. But yeah, it's true. I swear to God. But you know what? After the longest time, I realized that the most important thing is it doesn't matter if people mispronounce it as long as they respect you, right? As long as they put respect on it and they do it in a respectful way. Everybody went through school and being mocked for being different, and everybody went through bullying and whatever nicknames that came up, and the thing that mattered wasn't the nickname. That mattered was the tone, was the meaning behind it, was how they were treating you, right? So and one of my favorite lines is from the movie Snatch, Guy Ritchie, where one of the characters goes to this like hired hitman type character played by Vinnie Jones, and he's like, so what do I call you? Bullet, Tooth? The character's name is Bullet Tooth Tony. He's like, what do I call you? Bullet, Tooth? What do I call you? Tony? He's like, you can call me Susan if it makes you happy. I was like, okay, there you go.
So we're calling you Susan. I love that.
Yeah,
Susan Pasternak. I see that. You like Sue? Okay. Susan.
No, this isn't the. I identify as a boy.
Okay. Okay. I feel like there could be. I've never actually met a male Sue. Never mind. That would be interesting.
Part of a longer conversation.
Yeah.
Different topic.
Yeah, gonna think of that one.
And that's how I came to be known as Grisha.
Ooh, What an origin story. That's your superhero story right there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was this close to becoming a supervillain story. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, there's always just that one thing that separates you from the villain to the hero. It's
yeah. You know,
true
every
that.
good villain thinks that they're doing the right thing.
I know. That's why, like, who doesn't want to play the villain? That's
I
everyone
love.
doesn't have to be the good guy. The villain's the best person. They are so I don't know. They're just so convincing in their viewpoints. And then I just want to
Yeah.
side. I always there was I think it was How I Met Your Mother when they they thought the Karate Kid, they thought it was such a sad movie because the hero left. And that's my favorite.
William Zabka's the actual Karate
I
Kid.
just
Oh
thought
man,
it was so funny. And then
that
it
was
just made
such a
me,
great joke.
it was so funny. And now I like to do
Yeah.
that. Like, what if all these amazing movies are actually super tragic? And it's
Yeah,
really is
I
fun.
mean, you know, I was talking to some actors yesterday, actually, no, day before Monday, and you know, I was saying like, you know, my philosophy is kind of like life is about, you know, the three P's. It's about perspective. It's about, you know, what you're looking at, perception, how you see it, and priority. Is it important to you? Right? Or is it actually important, right? And so knowing what those things mean to you and how to look at them, because there's multiple perspectives on everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? And none of them are inherently wrong.
Yeah.
Facts are objective, right? Facts are facts, right? Facts are devoid
Well,
of
unless
feeling.
they're subjective facts. So then what do you do?
Nope. And they can be a fact if they're subjective. Right? That's the difference between fact and truth, right? Because everybody's truth is different. Truth is subjective. Fact is objective, right? And
Well, now I'm just
so,
thinking of subjective versus objective data, and now I'm making a bar graph. It's weird. Okay.
perfect, amazing. Link it.
I
Put
love
it in the
bar graphs. I
description.
want to bring that back. Okay. Everything
I
should be a bar
just
graph,
learned that
a
you.
pie chart. Oh, I
I
love pie.
listen. I really don't like Excel, but I've been slowly learning Excel, and I learned that there's a very simple way to graph data, and I was like, oh, this is
My husband
amazing.
loves Excel. That's so well. Have you been tracking the success rate of Raw, which I heard the number is so unbelievably high that you
No,
can't share
you
the
know
true
what?
number? Okay.
So I argue with Sophie, but like she showed me the text messages, and I'm like, I feel like people are gonna think we're lying. Like this is bad because it's
It's
like
not bad to be that successful.
but it's look, it's not so because it's not about us, right? It's not about us. It's the fact that we're applying a very fundamental understanding of how story works. It's just like how story works. It's not like some sort of magic freaking answer. It's not
But you know
like,
what?
oh,
It is
this is our
though.
system, whatever.
I don't think
Sorry,
it's
go ahead.
magic. No, I don't think it's magic, but I think it's actually when you're going to see the exact same thing over and over, and then you see something a little different, or you see that someone actually read the full script. I've been doing a lot of watching and like working with casting, and like when you see that and you're like, someone took the time, they read the script, there's different tones in the scene, that's going to stand out, right?
Yeah,
And so
and
I think that's what it
what
is,
that
right?
journey is, right?
Exactly.
We call it the character's journey because every character goes on a journey, right? They
Yeah.
start at point A and they get somewhere else by the end, and we have to go through that experience and learn, and they discover things in the scene and all that kind of stuff. And it's just fundamental to how storytelling is told. It's just now we kind of have a way to quantify it, and it's spitting results like holy shit. You know, and it's
What's the
hilarious
number?
because
Okay.
It's
the real
in the
number?
90s. It's in the 90s
I would like to hear
percentage
the
wise.
real number because apparently in the email it was not correct, and that just seems like false advertising that the number's lower than it should be.
No, she flipped the 7 and the 3. It's like 93.7, and I think she wrote 97.3.
It's
She's
a radio
also
station and a success rate. She's
but
dyslexic. Don't blame dyslexia.
listen, here's what is the current phenomenon that Sophie and I are kind of laughing at is every time right now we have a lot of people returning for like private coachings and stuff like that, and like
And then there will always be like a little, oh, and by the way, this super like casual like throw out, oh, and by the way, I got the call back, or I booked it, or, but it's just like kind of throwaway. It's like the most important thing is, can I get a, it's like, oh, and by the way, oh, and by the way, it's always so like, instead of just coming and just being like, hey, I got it, yes, we did it. Like, everybody's just like, oh, and by the way, oh, and that like, oh, and by the way is so funny to me because everybody's just trying to like downplay it, but then also just be like, hey, be cheeky about it. It's really, I don't know, it's every single time, every
I
single
feel
time.
like everyone has to own their victories now, is what I'm
Yeah,
hearing.
absolutely.
Like, not by the way, hello, how are you? Not even the niceties. Hello, I got a call back. Don't even say hello. It's just, I got a call back. I booked it.
Yeah,
No
I mean,
need for greetings.
if you're responding in in the thread of the email that we had started regarding your audition, it is perfectly acceptable to write in all caps, I got a callback with 15 exclamation points and like hearts and emojis and all that kind of shit.
15
And then
is
just drop
excessive.
one initial to sign it. I think that is perfectly acceptable. I think that's quite a boss move. And I think it's like a mic drop moment. Right. And if you do that, that's totally cool. Right. I respect that. But I'm not saying the other way is bad.
Wait,
I'm just
why do I
saying
need
that's
the one? Like,
also
who
a
else would it
possibility.
be? Oh, wait, never mind. I was like, who else would it be coming from my email? But apparently there's like 5 people in the raw email. I don't know who I'm talking to anymore. That's a side conversation.
Yeah.
I'm like writing hilarity in my opinion. I'm like, oh crap, what if the person reading this doesn't know
Yeah,
I'm funny?
like, who's going to read this? Luckily, everybody knows you, and
Okay,
so
that's
it's
fair. That's
okay.
fair. Okay, it's like, oh god, it's Robyn again. Someone else read this.
Well, it's not uncommon for me to see it and be like, oh, hey, Robyn wrote this funny thing. It's honestly not uncommon.
Okay, well, I mean, I try and spread the humor. It's usually funnier in my head. That's what I find. But
That is
because
true.
you can't hear the delivery. I find the delivery
Yeah.
is the most
Yeah.
important, right? Because you're like, where
Yeah,
is she?
that's
Where's she
why
gonna
you
make
send
it?
voice notes that are a minute long, and I'm like, oh, just text.
Because you don't read my messages, which was clear today. So I was correct to send you the voice note. This is why I send them. Okay.
Oh my god.
This is what happens. Grisha, you realize that I send voice messages because no one reads my messages.
It's fun because like the reason why I wanted to do this and the reason why I thought this would be so fun and you were so surprised I actually wanted to do one, but you're hilarious as a person and I feel like you and I can riff a lot, right? So if we go back and forth on voice notes, then it's just like nonsensical hilarity, being sarcastic to each other constantly, either going into like absurdism or just like talking shit about each other and just ragging on each other. And it's just, I don't know, it's fun and it's great to be able to connect with a person who has that kind of sense of humor.
Right? I know, and the problem is, and I've been saying this a lot, I can't pick up on other people being sarcastic. It is a true problem I have. So when you were first sarcastic to me, I'm like, wow, this guy really hates me. I didn't know. Like, I don't know what I did to him.
I'm not sorry.
No, it was great. Because now that I'm like, okay, no, he's doing a bit. I get it now. But it took me a minute to kind of clock into, oh, he's funny. Oh, okay, he's not a terrible human being. Noted. Maybe he is, but in this sense, no, we're joking. So that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun for me.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like we can play off each other. I once was randomly playing darts in a bar, and I met another like this older gentleman was just sitting at the next table playing darts on the other board. And we just started talking, but we started talking in like this random riffing nonsensical matter where we were just like building, it was like an absurdist improv of like just building on a concept where you're never talking about the actual thing you're talking about, but you're constantly just laughing more and more and more. And it's like it's like, a human being I met randomly over a beer one night and like I will never meet again. And he
never left. Now you're living with him. It's very awkward. Okay.
I know, right? So if he's like, dude, really?
Yeah,
in our bed?
stay. Uncomfortable.
No, but but the thing, the more important thing that a point I'm trying to make before you're being so rudely interruptive
I
is
know.
is that I remember that experience. I remember how that affected me, right? You know, people don't always remember what you did, but they remember how you made them feel, right? And so the goal is to make people feel good, make people laugh, leave an impression, make them I don't know, make them better for it, right? Or help them be better. I don't know. It's just like too many people just take. A lot of people just take.
I know it took a lot of your time. I get it. It's been a while. Okay.
And I've been, I've been like that too, and I'm guilty of that too. We all are. We consume as human beings. We have to, right? It's part of our nature. But there also has to be that balance. You know, I was talking about balance earlier. Is that balance is you have to put stuff out. And currently, I'm at a state in my life where I want my existence to be a net positive experience, which means I put out more than I consume. I put out more than I take in, so that fundamentally that my environment is one of abundance and instead of lack. Like it's better to come in with something to offer. It's better to improve somebody else's day. It's better to improve somebody else's experience than it is to just wallow in self-pity.
Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a lot of times, even if you just keep giving, I don't know if I would stop giving, but I notice the people that it's more reciprocal in nature, and I appreciate that a little more. And I remember hearing, this is now I'm getting apparently very Jewish today. It was like the marriage advice was it's a give and take. So when you started talking, I'm like, that was the marriage speech in our ceremony. Like, it's a give and take. I'm like, and it just sounds so basic. Yes, that should, but people kind of forget that, and that we're all human. And like, if someone is giving and giving and giving, just be mindful of that, in my opinion, you know, like, oh, okay. And it's been a long time where I don't know what you're looking at.
Sophie's looking for something.
Oh
She can't.
Sophie, he won't stop talking to me. It's like really uncomfortable.
I know.
I don't know what to do.
She put
really
too many quarters in the jukebox. The songs won't end.
It's like really, like I just don't. He's just, I can't.
You fixed it by knocking on it, and now it just keeps playing.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. But okay, thank you for your words of wisdom. Is there anything you want to leave the viewers with? It's a send off. It's a hard question. I throw out the hard one.
I don't have a catchphrase. It made me realize I don't have a catchphrase. I need a catchphrase. Like, stay classy, San Diego, but I can't do that because I'm not Ron Burgundy. You know, I need a catchphrase. Okay, Rob.
That's weird. Okay.
Give me a catchphrase.
I know I'm working. Okay. I was gonna.
No pressure.
Oh my God, it's really hard. I do this to people all the time. You know? Oh God, I hate being a guest on my own show. I don't want to do this.
You like how I just turned that around? You're like, do you have anything else to say? I'm like, give me something to say.
Okay. What do you want to? Keep it light. Toronto. No, it's not good. It's not good. All right. Let's get raw. Grisha.
Ooh, yeah. Let's get raw.
Let's get
okay. I like that. Be raw. I like that. Simone coming in with the be raw. I love it. All right.
That's your sign off.
Yeah. One of my favorites is the kiss rule.
Some raw. Okay. Wait. No, not
ready. Oh my God, that actually reminds me, because I see Chase is in the room. I hope he's still watching. Back in Chinatown ages ago, Sophie actually had us all do an exercise. A lot of the guys do a Magic Mike routine, and
my God.
Yeah, don't worry, there wasn't any inappropriateness or nudity. There was lap dances for for people, and we choreographed a whole thing. And we were called the Raw Dogs. And so I think I'm going to go with Raw Dogs out.
I love that. That is my favorite send-off. Grisha, thank you so much for doing this. Everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Okay, bye.
Bye.